This video answers some of the questions that you've asked about the Quest 3, as well as showing you some more hidden tips in the menu and a hack for the Quest 3 stock strap which makes it more comfortable and it will save you money. We all want to save money, so let's start with that tip. And a quick shout out to VR Cauldron for this one because I hadn't seen this accessory before I watched their video. I don't find this stock strap very comfortable at all, but this accessory from AMVR transforms it and makes it work in a similar way to the Elite strap. The stock strap digs into the back of your head, and by adding this accessory, it adds this soft silicone mold that sits neatly around your head. And it was designed for the Quest 2 but works really well with the Quest 3. And you can see the design similarities between the AMVR accessory and the back of the Elite strap. So the best way to use this with your Quest 3 is to adjust your stock strap as usual so that you can take the headset easily on and off with no further adjustment, and then add this silicone insert at the back. But eye comfort is also really important, and I wanted to clarify some of the information on IPD settings. There's a lot of info on IPD with a lot of different figures being thrown around. So the IPD on the Quest 3 has two ranges, and I think that's what's causing some confusion. So you've got the mechanical adjustment range, so that's the range that you can mechanically adjust inside the headset, and then you've got the accommodation range. So even though there's a limitation on the mechanical adjustment, the headset is capable of accommodating a broader range of IPD settings. So the IPD can be adjusted in the headset between 58 and 70, with 58 being displayed as minimum and 70 being displayed as maximum. So the other issue here is that the extreme ends of those IPD settings, so the minimum and maximum and the numbers close to that, are actually quite difficult to adjust to if your fingers are slippery, for example. And at those extreme positions, what I found was I had to stick my nail into the IPD wheel in order to turn it, just to get that extra millimeter one way or the other. So if your IPD is either end of the scale and it falls out of the mechanical range, then you'll need to set it to either maximum or minimum. And this should still comfortably accommodate your eyes. The organisation of the games and apps that you download on the Quest 3 isn't very good in my opinion, but there are a couple of tips to make finding games and apps easier. When you are searching for games, instead of scrolling through the countless apps, if you go to the search bar, you can then select here and filter your search from just MetaQuest apps, installed or not installed apps and games, demos and tutorials. And you can also pin 3 games to your shortcut menu at the bottom here, so you've got easy access to your favourite games. And you can do this by selecting the 3 dots here and then selecting pin to universal menu. And you can unpin them by doing the same process but selecting unpin from universal menu. But also you may have a game that you don't want someone else in your household to play because they'll wreck your progress, or you don't want your 5-year-old playing Saints and Sinners, for example. So you can also lock games in here as well by selecting lock and then setting up a lock pattern. And then you'll need to input this every time you want to play that game. But you can also set up 3 additional Meta accounts and profiles on the same headset. And each account can buy their own games, but also the main account holder can share their apps and games with the other 3 additional accounts. And when the games are shared, the other accounts will be able to save their individual achievements and progress. So to set this up, go to Settings, Accounts, and then Add Account. And also make sure you select App Sharing if you want to share your apps with the other people using your headset. But if you want to track your steps and calories that you use when you're playing all these games, then you can use the pre-installed Moves app. And you'll find this at the bottom of your apps and games page by clicking on the multi-square icon. And you go through a quick setup process where you input your height and your weight, etc. And then you select where you want the step counter to show up, at the top or the bottom of your screen. And you can also turn the step counter on or off at any point by going into the quick settings menu here. Open up the Moves app at any time and you can look at how many steps and calories you've burnt in each game you've played. And if you're playing games at night, you can select night mode on the quick menu. And this will give you less blue light and will give your screen a warmer look. And this will reduce the strain on your eyes and will be less likely to mess with your sleep pattern. And on the subject of sleep, you can increase the amount of time it takes before your headset goes into sleep mode due to periods of inactivity. So go to Settings and then System, and then Power, and then by default it's set to 15 seconds, and you can change this up to 4 hours, but I wouldn't recommend that, but certainly change it to 2 or 3 minutes or whatever suits you. You may have noticed here that you can also extend your battery life on the headset, but the trade-off is you will reduce the quality of your graphics, so I don't recommend you do this. But instead, if you want to increase your battery life, then you should use a power bank. Now this isn't something that Meta recommends, so you must do this at your own risk. In the last tips video I talked about the capsule power bank, but they always seem to be out of stock. So the alternative is to buy, say, a 10,000 milliamp hour power bank from Anker, and then buy a long cable and put the power bank in your pocket. Or you can attach it to the headset using a Velcro strap. This will extend your battery life to more than 5 hours, which means you can have a group of people round and play for hours on end, or just hang around in VR chat for as long as you want. Also in the settings menu, every now and then take a look at the experimental features section. And sometimes if you've seen an update that mentions a certain feature, then this is where it may appear. And you can find some really cool features in here, and this is where the pass-through feature started out with the Quest 2. The new feature that's currently in experimental features that you should turn on is swipe typing. We've all used this on our phones where you can swipe your finger around the keyboard for faster typing, and the Quest 3 now uses the same feature. So switch this on here, and then if we go to games and search for Thrill of the Fight, for example, I hold the trigger down and quickly swipe across the letters, and bang, there it is. But what if your settings cog disappears from the shortcut menu? Well, there are 3 ways to get to the settings menu. You've usually got the cog at the bottom, and this is displayed in the area with your recently used apps. So if you've used several other apps since using settings, then the settings cog will disappear. But you can also go to quick settings, and the settings menu icon is at the top. Or you can select the multi-square icon, and you'll also see settings in here as well. If you have trouble activating hand tracking, then you can tap your controllers together, and this will immediately activate hand tracking mode. Remember to turn your headset off properly. If you just quick press the power button, it will go into standby mode. And this may mean that the next time you go to play your headset several days later, the battery may be dead. So press and hold for 2 or 3 seconds, and then this menu will come up, and then select power down. Please subscribe for more Quest 3 tips coming up, and if you didn't see my first tips video, then you can watch that here. My name's Rich, thanks for watching, and I'll see you over there.